zit nog maar één probleem. Wacht ook.
Okay, Denny.
Ja.
Right. Good evening, everyone, and welcome in the latest episode of the Global AI Community channel, AI Talks Live. Today, we're bringing another guest speaker, and I want to welcome with that Dennie Declercq. Hi, Dennie. How are you doing?
Hello, fine. I'm doing fine. And you?
I'm good. I'm glad to have you today as in my show. Dennie, can you just tell something about yourself? Who are you, and what are you doing in day-to-day life?
I'm Denny. I'm a Microsoft MVP and developer technologist. My specialty is apps and software for people with disabilities. I have my own nonprofit in Belgium, DDSoft. And today is my birthday celebration, not my real birthday, of course. This is in November, but today, 8 years ago, I started to volunteer in a coaching center, Ithaca. Not my own nonprofit. DDSoft came after this. But at this time, it's 8 years ago that I got introduced with the field of people with learning disabilities, where we're going to talk about a lot today.
Okay, that sounds very interesting. It's also nice how you're doing so much volunteering work. We're also glad to have you on board as an MVP, of course. Denny, what are you specifically going to talk about today?
About how AI can be used for people with disabilities. We're going to talk about people with learning disabilities, people with autism, and maybe some other scenarios. There's going to be a live demo, of course, that should be as a tech speaker. And yeah, it's going to be fun, inspirational, and the technology will be Microsoft Cognitive Services.
All right, so with that, I will give you the platform. All the best, Denny.
Thank you. Hi, welcome on AI of the Better and Life in brackets, Life of People with Disabilities. PWD is the abbreviation of people with disabilities. So, let's walk the boat. I'm Dennie Declercq. I'm very active on Twitter with my Twitter handle at Dennie Declercq. And a few years ago, I invented the hashtag Dreaming is Believing. And Dreaming is Believing was all about becoming a world famous conference speaker, speaking at conferences worldwide. And I did that. And I even became a Microsoft MVP after speaking at a lot of conferences. I'm president and developer at DDSoft. That's a nonprofit that I founded myself with the mission to increase quality of life of people with disabilities in a broader sense. And I'm definitely not an AI engineer. So I said I am not an AI engineer, but Microsoft saves my life. I am going to tell you what I see if I combine my expertise and accessibility with taking an overview on the Microsoft Cognitive Services platform. Microsoft Cognitive Services is a platform where developers can leverage AI in their applications without the need of being an AI engineer or a maths rockstar. And to be sure, it takes time. It doesn't take AI knowledge, but building a good solution does take time and money. The only reason that I didn't build some solutions where I'm going to talk about today is because due to my own autism, my work capacity is not that big. And that doesn't count for everyone with autism. Everyone with autism is pretty unique. For me, too much workloads aren't possible. This is also the reason that I am a volunteer developer. I develop products and systems with my nonprofit on a voluntary base. This really doesn't mean not technical, but I can't do it day to day for 8 hours. At the DDSoft we make prototypes to test and to see what's possible to help increase quality of life of people with disabilities. We learn others to implement this knowledge and consult our expertise to other businesses. So what this I also call accessibility is giving a clear explanation of what the talk is going to be. So I'm gonna talk with you about the content. I'm going to give a primer into accessibilities. I am going to talk about the Microsoft Cognitive Services and give you an API overview. I'm going to talk about real world problems, and then the main part, the when I wrote it at expert was real world inspiration. The real inspiration. The real inspiration is systems that starting to be developed by you. Then I'm going to give real world inspiration, and the difference is real world inspirations are products that are already built by other companies or parties. I'm going to talk about the AI for Good cohort from Microsoft. And then I'm going to wrap up and I'm going to thank you all to listening to my first major virtual talk during this period. So let's start with the primer into accessibility. I just want to know and I want to welcome again all the people on this talk. And I also invited a lot of people from my family, from my friend circle, and most of them are really non-technical at all, non-developers. But this talk is separated in different parts, and there are some technical parts with a live demo, of course, and there are some parts who are not technical, but just explains the way of thinking and combining solutions who are possible with people with disabilities. So it's going to be fun. And as I said, I'm going to start with the primer into accessibility. You have different kind of disabilities. You have people with learning disabilities, people with autism, people with visual disabilities, people with auditory difficulties. You have people with motoric restrictions, and in fact, you have much more. And much more do I also mean combination of disabilities. As I said, the slide is inclusive and not exclusive. But when I start speaking at tech conferences, I often get the question, what is a learning disabilities? And most of the developers really don't have a clear picture of what the people with a learning disability is. So I just going to say the technical what it is from the DSM, but of course I'm going to give you examples too. And the theoretical part is people with learning disabilities have significant limitation in both intellectual functioning and adaptive behavior. And all of you are thinking, what terms are this? So, I'm going to explain. Intellectual functioning is also called intelligence, mental capacity, and you can think about an IQ score between 70 and 75. And then of course you have adaptive behavior. And adaptive behavior you can split into different parts: conceptual skills, language and literacy, money, time and number concepts, and self direction. You have social skills, interpersonal skills, social responsibility, and also self esteem, awareness. You have practical skills. These are activities in daily living. By example, personal care, healthcare, travel, and transportation. I hope this makes a bit sense. And I never talk on both accessibility without touching the principles of inclusion. I also have full talks about the power of inclusion, by example. But each talk where I talk about accessibility, I want at least want to include the principles of inclusion. So, what is inclusion? People with disabilities are doing the same activities as people without disabilities. People with and without disabilities are living in the same district. People with and without disabilities are working together, and the needed adjustments are done per person. It's a very per person scenario. No, and some of you are thinking, why do I put myself into this picture? Well, I live in an inclusive living project because my autism. And I live together with people with learning disabilities, but also with people without disabilities. And I'm happy that I live in the project, and the project called the Bazan in Histel. So, I also want to cover what the digital difficulties can be or are for people with disabilities. And people with learning disabilities have most of the time difficulties to read and to understand text or even spoken text. People with autism can have difficulties to understand scenarios and see the structure of applications or websites. Then you have people with blindness or vision loss. These have a decreased ability to read and also a decreased ability to navigate. And with navigation, I mean in the world, but also in their living room. And then you have the people with auditory disabilities. They have difficulties with hearing notifications, and of course, with following movies without audio descriptions. And I don't think it's covered in this talk. I know it's not covered in this talk, but you can also do subtitling of movies with AI. So, but that's not covered, as I said. Why? Because our focus will be people with learning disabilities, also people with autism, and if I work on systems for people with learning disabilities and autism, I quite often see that these solutions can also help people with mental health issues without being autistic or having a learning disabilities. A lot of approaches that I can make for this two basic group are adaptable for people with mental health issues. So we are inclusive, we are including them. Finally, you survived the part about people with disabilities. I hope you enjoyed it. Right now, I'm going to explore with you Microsoft Cognitive Services, and I'm going to show you which services you can use to make accessible AI applications. I'm going to show the APIs that can be linked directly with accessibility for the people where I spoke about in the first part. And what do I mean with directly? Maybe each cognitive service that you will see can be used in an application for people with disabilities via a side service. But with directly, I mean application services that can have a direct effect on the disability. And of course, I'm going to give some live demos. And just to show what the non-AI engineer can do in nearly 5 minutes with the power of Microsoft Cognitive Services. So, getting started with cognitive services. Here you see a screenshot of all the available services. But what's better than just seeing this is within a second the demo. In the Azure portal, we see it. So, it's demo time. Just so I'm signed in into my Azure tenant. I'm going to create a new resource today. I click on AI plus machine learning. And I don't choose one of those because I want to show there's a lot more. I click on see all. Then here you have bot service and machine learning. Bot service, I'm gonna scratch the topic of bots very shortly and briefly in my talk, but the biggest part will be on cognitive services. And it's not a lot, so you can see more. And then you see it's a lot. And even you can load more. So, so these are the cognitive services. Today, I'm going to use the service for my demo, the speech service. So I just click on speech. Just to be sure, for the people who don't know what Azure is Microsoft Cloud Platform and not only for AI. And if you want to start playing with Azure for AI or for another cause, you need an account, but you have a free trial of account that everyone can ask, a free trial account. So we are in the account, and I'm going to click create a speech service. I have to enter a name, and I call it DD speech, and I give it a dash 2 because there's already a DD speech. And in a second, you will see why. My subscription will be pay as you go because I want to pay for my demos that I give. And then I'm going to use Western Europe. Why do I choose Western Europe? In the regions, it's best to make the choice of the region closest to you. And I'm from Belgium, so the closest region is Western Europe. I'm going to select the price tier F0, and I'm going to create a new resource group, call it DD speech 2 RS from resource group 10 plus 1 to 3. And then finally, I'm going to create. And it just takes seconds in Azure. And I can go to the resource. And you saw that I already created the DD speech. I want to explain it fairly from the beginning as a non-AI engineer. And the first thing you have to do is linking the solution that uses the service with the key and the endpoint. So, but I am gonna show it, but the key is everyone can steal it, but just that's what you need. And the reason that everyone can steal it just for this reason, I'm going delete the resource again. And I don't show the keys of the real service DD speech. Of course. So that was Azure. So now I'm going to talk about some cognitive services. And the first one I want to touch is the speech service. The speech service is a text to speech enriched with AI. It's way more natural than let's call it the normal text to speech on a smartphone or a computer. And folks that are following me since a long time will see that I really believe in the power and the need of text to speech in combination with accessibility for people with learning disabilities. In the speech service, you have also custom voice. Custom voice can be trained with a voice that the person with a disability knows. By example, a mom of somebody, of a person with a disability, or a caregiver. For people with autism, or even intellectual disabilities or mental health issues, a known voice like a mom or a caregiver can sound familiar and make it a lot more sense the text that's spoken out. And of course, I want to be inclusive. It don't have to be a mom. It also can be a dad. So we're gonna use a speech service. What did you think? For the speech service, I'm going to open the tool that I love most, Microsoft Visual Studio. And for the people following on my channel, this is the last demo. So the people who say, oh my god, that is Chinese and way too technical, is the last part. But I just want to show how nuts it is to make some
Danny, could
service
you
with
zoom
AI.
in your code a bit?
What? Sorry?
Zoom
Zoom in
in
the
your
code.
code a bit
Of
because the
course.
code is very small.
Thank you for saying. I just have to think. Oh my god. Tools.
Control plus scrolling with your mouse.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you, Sam. So, but we are not going to start here. I'm going. You see here in this part, you see keys and keysdemos.cs. I'm going to show keys demo because that's the one I want to show without my key. Keys is the same static class, but with the keys here and the endpoint filled in with the connection to Azure. So we have the keys. I need key 1 for this demo, a region, and I also want to use an endpoint. And the program.cs, we are going back again. And we see what we have. It's nuts. It's really simple. We have our static async task synthesis to speaker async. Wait, we don't have this. We also need dependencies and a NuGet package for Microsoft Cognitive Services. And the NuGet package is available on the NuGet place, the NuGet store, yeah. And then they really do all the magic for us, so we don't need to do magic. Then we have the public async task synthesis to speaker async. I'm gonna make a var with config. I do my speech config and I get my subscription. I add my key and my region. That is in this class. Then I make a synthesizer, a new speech synthesizer with the configuration. I do a console white line, type some text you want to speak. I let it read. Is it right? The synthesizer, who is connected with the cloud service, speaks the text in an async way. And of course, there's also error handling. If it's cancelled, also needed, always needed. So I'm gonna click play. Oh, and now I think control scroll. Yeah, happy. And type some text you want to speak. Hello. So if I press enter, you will hear it.
Hello from Belgium, AI Talks. So excited for this.
And it's really important to know this service is not linked to text to speech on my Windows device, but it's via the cloud, via AI. And people that know text to speech will hear it's way more natural than the other text to speech. Press the key to exit. Okay. And this was Visual Studio for today. So you see, it's really nuts to implement AI with Microsoft Cognitive Services. So the Vision API, I want to say everything works with the same, with the service that you have to create on Azure, downloading some NuGet, and a few lines of code. Yeah, for some APIs you have to do more, but it's all quite simple to start. It's not deep math engineering, even if you have to do some more steps. And with Vision API, the person with a disability can take pictures and let them analyze with the power of AI. This can be used via web meetings and can also be combined with Face API. Face API is a part of Vision APIs to do more calculations. For example, a mood scan, scanning from facial hair, and this can be pretty helpful, as you will see later in this talk. Just to tease you. You have also the bot service. And the bot service provides bots. And bots are like a chatbot, people that you speak to, but you don't speak to people, but you speak to computers. And bots really can assist people with disabilities. And bots can be used to make clear guidelines for the person. And a feature that at this time is in preview, in public preview on Azure, is the immersive reader. And I really hope it will get out of public preview very fast, because we all need immersive reader to make accessible websites. Immersive reader covers accessibility features like reading aloud websites, and even linking pictographs to text on the websites, linking pictures to text on the websites, and have text appearance options. Text appearance options can be very helpful for people with learning disabilities, but also people with dyslexia. You're going to see a demo later when I'm going to talk about a famous Belgian cook you will see later, just to teach you. So, now the technical part is over. We're going back to technical parts, but I switch between technical and non-technical. And in this part, I'm going to tell you about some real life problems that people with disabilities can have in their daily life. Some of them will come back in the next part called the real inspiration. And the real inspiration, I'm going to link those problems to a specific AI use case. So, reading. People with learning disabilities can have or have difficulties with reading information and understanding written text. A lot of people with autism have difficulties with executive functions. And what are executive functions? This means planning really simple tasks, also making choices, and keeping the concentration. I had a conference talk where I made the joke about myself. Sometimes I laugh at myself. It's kind of living. And it's kind of accepting yourself. But for me, it's easier to plan a trip to the other side of the world. Unfortunately, in these times of COVID-19, I don't have to plan trips to the other side of the world. But you see on this picture some shopping buckets, some shopping carts. And for me, it's way more difficult to do my groceries just in the store, crossing my street. Even I don't have to cross the street, but it's more difficult than planning a trip to the other side of the world. That's autism, and not everybody understands that, but that's okay. Feelings. A quote for me, it's not famous yet, is, "I have no elbows. I don't feel if I'm going over your borders and limits, and if this annoys you." That sentence, I described myself in the beginning when I lived in the Bazan to one of my neighbors, still. Because I don't want to take fools, I don't always feel it. It's not mentioned bad, but I just don't feel it always. Self-trust can be hard for a lot of people with disabilities, even for people with autism or mental health issues. Can I really do this? And will this really work? As you see, all those problems I talk about can be fixed, helped, coached, assisted with the power of Microsoft Cognitive Services. You just have to think a little brain exercise and you see the link. And if you don't, I'm going to give you the real inspiration. So, in the next talk, I promise to talk about a famous cook. Who will it be? So, I'm going to tell you a story about the situation. It's a situation that isn't built yet, but easily can be built just if you have time and money, like everything in life. But you don't have to be an AI engineer. And Dave wants to learn to make soup. Dave loves soup. Dave is 30 years old and lives in an inclusive living project on his own. He has a learning disabilities, curiosity and reading recipes from Belgium's famous cook Piet Huizentruid, his cookbook is difficult. But even online, Piet Huizentruid has nice recipes for easy soups. Television cook Piet is famous for his easy to make recipes. But you need to be able to read the recipe. With the service Immersive Reader, website owners can add immersive pages to their website. An immersive page is a page with tools to split words, link words to pictograms, and with the load words or some parts of the text. So, and with the immersive recipe, Dave can make delicious tomato soup. So, my vision barber. Honestly, it would be ideal for me. For me, concentration, and in combination with seeing each detail of my facial hair in the mirror while shaving me is difficult, I admit. This can be a combination of my autism and the decreased sight. With the Face API and cognitive services, you can make an app that shows if you are shaved well. Imagine taking a picture with my phone after shaving myself, and my phone shows a big smile if I'm shaved well. Otherwise, he shows where I have to adjust my shaving. The Face API, has a property facial hair, and programmatically is a C# coding exercise figuring out which tolerance that I want or I need to receive. And of course, C# is the coding methodology that I should use as a .NET developer. Of course, Microsoft provides also APIs on their Azure stack for Go, Java, JavaScript, and Python. So you can use whatever language you want, combination to Azure Cognitive Services. Lisa is autistic. Lisa tries to start to live alone. And she just started to live on herself. She needs some extra coaching from her mom on doing her laundry. And next to the laundry, if something doesn't work, she gets stressed pretty fast. And of course, that also has to do with anxiety. Lisa, her mom, has collaborated with a developer that made a bot service in cognitive services and made a scenario specific for Lisa and her mom. Lisa, her mom, put all the steps to do laundry in the bot service via a very simple front-end class, like a website. And the developer trained the bot service and combined the service with text-to-speech and also custom voice, of course, of Lisa's mom from the speech API. Lisa has an app on her phone that works with text-to-speech, driven in the cognitive services combined with the custom voice of her mom. The application with the bot and speech features, as I said, are on Lisa's phone, and has also an emergency option if she is really stressed. For Lisa, if she gets stressed, the real voice of her mom really helps calming down, even if her mom not available, by example, if she is at her work. I like to travel, and I like to walk outside. And as I said, unfortunately, we are in the current times of Corona crisis. So not traveling and not too much walking outside. Pretty crap. But if we come back to normal, each year, even me as a person with autism, and let's say a quite high intellectual functioning, have difficulties with choosing the right clothes. It don't have it to do with mental capacity or intelligence, but temperature numbers are so abstract for me as a person with autism. So that's the reason of temperature. But even other situations for some people on the autism spectrum or people with the learning disabilities can have a hard time choosing the right clothes for a specific scenario. A formal event and a birthday party are not the same. But, of course, sometimes they are. Imagine the birthday reception of the boss of your partner. Let's be honest, this is confusing. Let's imagine an app that tells you which clothes you want to choose, that chooses the clothes for you. The app has a connection with the wedding API and with the Microsoft Graph API. The Microsoft Graph API is not a part of Azure, but a part of Microsoft or Office 365 and can be connected to your personal agenda. All your clothes are in the computer vision library and have data labels with weather information and also information if this cloth is formal or family or free time style. You wake up, you open your app, and the app predicts just what to wear. This is AI accessibility. So, we have the real inspiration where I challenge you to make scenarios to tackle problems of people with disabilities. At this time, I'm going to show you four AI products that help people with disabilities. These cases are already created, and why I show these just to prove that the cases are possible with Microsoft Cognitive Services. So, Microsoft Seeing AI. Under each movie, you have a link. It's a brand lead to my DDSoft company with the link to the official product. At this time, it's Microsoft. I'm going to show a little part of the video, but I don't believe you watch this talk to watch the other videos. But I want to give a little impression.
Seeing AI is a Microsoft research project for people with visual impairments. The app narrates the world around you by turning the visual world into an audible experience. Point your phone's camera, select a channel, and hear a description. The app recognizes saved friends.
Jenny near top right, 3 feet away.
Describes the people around you, including their emotions.
28-year-old female wearing glasses looking happy.
It reads text out loud as.
So if you want to see more the movies, you have the link, but even at the end of my presentation, I'm going to share a screen with all the links and you can grab a screenshot if you want to see more of the full movies.
That comes into view.
Microsoft Translator, I link that also to accessibility because learning a new language is definitely more difficult for people with disabilities. But it is a scenario, and if you talk about inclusion, this is an app that can be used for people with disabilities, but also can be pretty helpful for people without disabilities. This is inclusion, you know.
This is a new multi-device translation feature on the Microsoft Translator application.
Si tratta di una nuova funzionalità di traduzione multi-device sull'applicazione Microsoft Translator.
Wir können eine echte Konversation halten über die Sprachbarriere hinweg.
Possiamo mantenere una vera
So, AI is magic, you know.
conversazione attraverso.
Helpicto is an application also made with Microsoft Cognitive Services from another company. And it's in French, it's from France. And it's directed for people with disabilities, with autism, but with a more severe autism. And if I say a more severe autism, then I mean a deeper form of autism, also in combination with some kind of learning disabilities. It's a long movie. I'm gonna show a part and forward something.
Arthur, c'est un autiste sévère qui n'a pas de langage et qui a 15 ans.
Les défauts de compréhension augmentent le niveau d'anxiété, ce qui peut donner lieu à des troubles du comportement ou alors à des destructions de l'environnement, des jets d'objets. Donc on va être dans une difficulté massive.
Quand il s'énerve, c'est quand même qu'il n'a pas compris quelque chose ou qu'il veut quelque chose. Communiquer avec El Picto.
Le départ d'El Picto, c'est des discussions que j'ai eues avec Karine, qui avait une idée depuis quelques temps, mais c'est devenu possible depuis quelques mois. Microsoft a développé ce qu'on appelle des cognitive services, mis à disposition dans le cloud, et qui vont permettre d'exploiter des choses qui étaient très difficilement exploitables auparavant. De la reconnaissance d'image.
No. And I want to thank PowerPoint. Definitely, if you combine PowerPoint with an Office 365 license, because even AI used me to make these beautiful slides. Making stunning presentations is way more easy with AI features right now than there will be some years ago. And I can make a terrible joke, but I don't do this. And I'm pretty sure that most of the, for example, PowerPoint and O365 users really don't know that they are using AI. They just click on give me some presentation, give me a suggestion, and layout suggestions, and they don't even consider that they are using AI, who is also driven on the cognitive platform, I think. I'm pretty sure. And then I want to talk just a short word on the AI for accessibility grants. That means if you are a developer, an entrepreneur, a company that want to start making applications for the better life of people with disabilities, with Microsoft Cognitive Services, there is a cohort on AI for accessibility. And AI for accessibility fits in the bigger part of AI for good. But as I said, this talk is about accessibility. And then you get some money, money and cloud resources, and you also get coaching from Microsoft. So I'm gonna wrap up because time is going fast, my friends. I told you about accessibility, the basics of people with disabilities. How do they think? What is some theory? I talked about the Microsoft Cognitive Services platform. I gave a demo. I talked about real-world problems of people with disabilities. I showed you the inspiration. I gave you my ideas. Then I showed what's already built with the Microsoft platform. And we are here. I just want to show you the links and the references. You can take a screenshot if you want, or take a picture with your phone if you're watching television. YouTube is also available on some televisions. And get even more inspired by watching the full movies. I want to thank you, and I want to provide some answers on some questions you might have. I show you my details again, my social links, my email, and I want to give a special thank to Quasosys Services, our sponsor of DDSoft, one of our bigger sponsors. Thank you, and if you have questions.
Thank you, Denny. It was a very interesting talk. I really enjoyed it myself. Certain things I didn't think about how things are for in your life, for example, how things are different. So thanks for also clearing that up for a lot of people. At the moment, we do not have questions. So if you still have questions for Denny, please don't hesitate to use the YouTube chat to ask, or we're also streaming to Denny's Facebook. So if you have any questions there, I will also follow up. Denny, question for you.
Yeah.
If you think about AI, how could AI change for you your life the most?
With the shaving application and maybe with the cloud application. I think.
Is it something you work on, or?
But not yet because time. But if we can go really well on AI and maybe these are realistic scenarios right now. as I said, they just need cloud resource and capacity to be built. But if we can really go well, my dream, AI dream is, it's not possible yet, is a self-driving car, but also with all the regulations and law restrictions that you don't have to be a driver. It's due to my eye disease, it's not safe to drive a car, and I cannot drive a car. But always public transport, that's not that fun, and definitely not if I want to do some community events in Belgium. It's quite a long time. And imagine I just can take, maybe have my own AI-driven, fully self-driven car. Or even in the past, I talked to somebody who thought that it's perfectly combined with, let's call it an Uber. I just open an app on my phone, I order a car, of course without driver, and I go to wherever I want. But we are not there yet.
We're
But
not
the
there yet.
shaving on the clothes,
I think we're very close to it. Things are going fast lately. Okay. Denny, I'm gonna ask it. You had a horrible joke. I want to know what you were gonna say.
you know it?
No? Shoot?
It's so dirty. I don't know if people have it. And it was about PowerPoint, the joke, you know?
Uh-huh.
There was... oh no, it's so dirty to do it in public.
If it's too dirty, we will not do it. It's
But
okay.
I just say it on a proper way. A lot of people can learn, can be used by AI and PowerPoint to make accessible presentations. I don't talk on people in person, but people talking about restrictions on COVID-19, maybe. I just imagine something.
Yeah,
That is
the
so
Belgians
easy.
who are listening know who we're talking about. I think we'll keep it to that.
I think so.
All right, Danny, thank you for your time. Thanks for
Thank you.
preparing this session.
Thank you for hosting me.
We will have a new session next week. That's new also. We are going to stream every week now. We already have a planning that is full up to the end of June. So with many nice speakers from all over the world. And next week we're going to India. And we're going to listen to Ali Mustafa Shaikh. He's a Microsoft student partner. He's even been allowed to speak at a TEDx event. And he's going to talk about tackling bias and machine learning using crowdsourced data. And it's also going to be a bit about how AI can change people's life where maybe people do not have internet and so on. So stay online, subscribe on our YouTube channel, and we hope to see you back then. So thanks for joining, and see you all next time. Bye.
See you.